where we got lost.
I still can't see it. I'm coming down.
See, we passed San Clemente.
Yeah, we're off the 5. We passed San Clemente,
Yeah.
but we're not on an app.
I say go, go, go!
Friends and enemies, welcome to Cordkillers. Our mission to report the intel from the front lines of the cord-cutting revolution so that you have the information you need to be able to control what you watch, when you want to watch it, where you want to watch it, and what device you want to watch it on. I'm Tom Merritt.
Yeah, man, I'm Brian Brushwood, but explain this to me. How come what I wanted to do was watch all of everything awesome and physically be at San Diego Comic-Con? Why didn't that happen? Your dreams
We are not
a lie, sir.
Cordkillers
QE.
plus time-space displacement experts. That's why.
Yeah, so our next show is going to be Time-Space Displacement Killers.
Although,
dude, the center of the universe is San Diego Comic-Con right now.
I'll be honest, you could watch most of the Hall H panels from San Diego Comic-Con on the internet. Lamar Wilson is with us today and can confirm that that is indeed true. Did you watch anything?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I totally can.
Okay, I had to switch microphones really, really fast because of all the great construction that's above me. I apologize for that. It happened right before the show.
You know, those folks upstairs are going to have a real nice bathroom when it's done.
They are. Yeah, I hope there's not a bathroom above this. That's weird.
Directly above you right now.
Yeah,
and they're going to overflow the
Thanks
bathtub.
for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, man, thanks for coming. Did you watch much of the Comic-Con stuff over the weekend?
I did not. No, I was actually at a Disney event at the YouTube space, so that kind of took a couple of my days.
I went to that
filming for that. So.
Saw the stuff that leaked out. I mean, you like the Batman versus Superman trailer.
Oh well, yeah, I did see that.
And Suicide Squad. We had of course the behind the scenes stuff. You know, Star Wars continues to bat 1,000 on all of their releases. They continue to make you feel nostalgic and powerful and excited. They continue to whisper the fact that, hey, look at all this analog technology we're using, totally not relying on green screens. I got to tell you, man, everything I saw out of San Diego Comic-Con looks amazing.
Like the Hunger Games trailer? Because, by the way, Star Wars The Force Awakens was the 3rd most popular tweeted Comic-Con event behind Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 and Batman vs. Superman.
Dumb. That makes sense as far as Batman versus Superman is the least known about, the one that is most primed to explode and has something different to say in the show. You know, the new trailer does a really good job of getting you pumped. Whereas like Star Wars, they're just keeping their seat warm. They've learned that they don't want to overhype early on. And I think
Star Wars is an orchestration.
Oh.
They're like, we introduced you to a few new characters at the Star Wars Celebration. Now I'll introduce you to a few more characters. We had Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill on stage together at Star Wars Celebration, but Harrison Ford couldn't make it, so we'll have all 3 of them on stage. And I'll be honest, man, the thing that gave me the most hope for Star Wars Force Awakens was Harrison Ford's very sincere-sounding testament that he thought it should be ridiculous to be going back and doing Star Wars again, and it wasn't. And he complimented the director and the script and everything.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man,
well, we are here to talk about...
Feel sincere.
Yeah, we are here to talk about the ways in which you watch the things you watch. Those are just a couple of things we love to watch. We got more of that coming up. But let's start off with our primary target. Comcast did it. They have announced their own cord-cutting streaming television service. A few minor details here. It's $15 a month, so it's cheaper than Sling TV. It's cheaper than HBO Now, and it includes HBO. It's actually the same bundle that they used to do for cable, where you get a cable box and you get HBO and the local TV channels, except it's only $15 a month, and you don't need a cable box.
Sign me up.
A dozen broadcast channels, ABC, CBS, CW, Fox, NBC, access to on-demand content. I mean, there's nothing not to love about this, right?
Yeah, number one, I mean, at the very lowest level, you can love the fact that now there's a competitor trying to enter the same space as Sling TV, and we've talked about it on the show. I've hypothesized for a long time that there'll be this kind of fig leaf idea, this kind of virtual fake cable subscription, something good enough that doesn't require them to put any infrastructure in. It requires them to have some handshake deals that allow you to authenticate with all of the different various providers in order to get in. I mean, that's to be honest, what this seems to be. Like, is there any downside to this service? Is what I would say, both to you, Tom, and to you, Lamar.
Well, Tom, I got your setup. You know, Brian kind of missed the setup there, but I got you. So that works. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
wait,
I'm
okay.
waiting for you
It
to
was
tell
a
me
delay here. Okay.
to knock down the setup.
All right. Stupid microphone. No, yeah, the Comcast thing looks great, except for that minor detail that you have to have Comcast internet with it, which is like that doesn't make it fully standalone. Although there are millions upon millions of people who have Comcast. I mean, I guess there's a market for it, but you know, I can't get it here on in LA. There's no Comcast here. So
Yeah, but
Well,
I
and
guess-
that's
I guess
the thing is you can't watch this service anywhere but in your house. It's not even just about Comcast internet, right? There's 22 million subs. If I lived in the Comcast service area like San Francisco and I could like take this with me on the road, then it would be like Sling TV, but I can't. I have to be at home to watch it. Although I can take advantage of TV everywhere, so I can get some on-demand content and I can get access to my cloud DVR content on the road, I can only watch the live streaming channels on a phone, on a tablet, or on a computer in my house.
Right, but also, and I believe you left out one other thing, which is that because this is, you know, kind of a virtual cable service, you are able to authenticate your apps so that
Some
no matter what
of
network
them.
you're on.
You can authenticate some apps. You're correct. We don't know which ones. And like all these cable services, sometimes they have deals, sometimes they don't. So it's hard to say.
And I guess like I look at all this and I'm surprised that anyone is putting any kind of premium value on live content. Here's what I suspect. I suspect that you could pick this apart and you could find a lot of things wrong with it that don't deliver on things that most people need. However, there is one group of people for which I think this is extremely well targeted, and that's millennials. Millennials quite simply don't have a giant television in their living room. They do all of their media consumption on smaller devices, smaller screens, or maybe their computer screens or whatever. And in this regard, if you and plus you got to get internet from someone. So okay, let's say like in this case it's Comcast's first offer. Let's say it becomes the de facto standard that right now what they're doing is they're trying to force this three-way bundle. All cable companies say do this for internet, and then we'll throw in a landline like anyone wants that, and cable television like anyone wants that. This has been their holy trinity or whatever. It seems like they're kind of just bailing on the last two and instead saying, use us for your internet provider and apply these packages that will give you the extra stuff to as if we were selling you the three of those.
Well, it's actually cheaper to do the bundle still. So if you want to bundle phone, internet, and cable television together, it's cheaper than just having internet.
That's
Without even adding Comcast Stream.
I believe you are. And I may be making this up. I'd be surprised if that was the case, apples to apples.
Recode has it in their article. They say it's $45 a month for a triple play. It's $65 a month for 50 megabit per second Comcast bandwidth.
Right, but my question is, is that with what level of commitment? How many years?
With
of
a year
service?
commitment, I'm sure. I'm going to guess, but I would say it's a good bet that there's a year.
Controlling for level of length of contract that it's cheaper to get traditional cable than to only get regular cable.
I'm
sorry. Traditional get traditional cable cheaper than just getting internet.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes, it is. That's the whole point about all of this stuff. This is all insane. For instance, let's say it is the same amount, right? And I've got internet and I'm paying $15 a month for this. And suddenly I find out that there's a new competitor in town that's offering gigabit fiber and Comcast hasn't caught up and I want to switch to that. I can't get this anymore.
Yeah, yes. Well, I mean, you can't have that service, but again,
if I have Sling TV, doesn't matter which broadband provider I have.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm bothered by it though. But
it's not about bothered. It's about why would I get this? I guess I get broadcast channels for like live sports, live local sports and stuff. for the same price as HBO now, but I can get those over the air. Maybe if I can't get them over the air, and maybe if I'm pretty sure I'm going to be locked into Comcast, it just seems like a really narrow amount of people that it would appeal to. Lamar, what do you think?
I'm thinking the same thing. I'm because I'm a Sling TV user, and as I was telling you before the show, this is a perfect week for me to come on because I absolutely hate the app that's on the Xbox. Like, absolutely abhor it. And Brian, maybe you're right. Maybe it's for people who use it on tablets because it works so much better on my tablet or phone. But on that Xbox, watching it on my TV, it is absolutely a horrible experience. The app just closes every hour, and it doesn't. And it doesn't work. So I don't know. I think there's definitely some problems with trying to see who this appeals to and the benefit, especially if you can't take it out the house. I'm just, yeah, it's $15, but is it worth if you're stuck in your house? Why not just have cable for a few bucks more?
I mean, the answer is because we are seeing the emerging group of people who don't have any use for a cable box, like people for whom, if they said, "Please come in and give me cable," a technician would show up and like, "Well, where do you want me to plug in the cable box?" And they're like, "Oh, literally nothing. I don't have a television in my living room," and then they turn around and walk away. I mean, and in that regard, I don't know. I think that there is a market for this, and although you do have me a bit mixed up, I wish I had looked at the pricing more because, like, I just keep thinking what you're describing is so insane that it would be cheaper. That's nuts.
Well, and forget that for a moment. What appeals to what is the appeal to this? If I'm a millennial, like you said, who watches linear live TV anymore, right? Like, wouldn't I rather just get Hulu and be able to watch stuff when I want, rather than having linear live TV, some of which is in a confusing on-demand format, some of which is available, some isn't. I get Sling TV for $20, and I know it's got its problems, like Lamar is saying, but it's got ESPN, it's got cable channels. This doesn't. This is basically, if you're going to stay with Comcast and you don't mind that you can't watch it on any other internet connection, like when you're traveling, then you can get HBO with free broadcast channels.
Well, I know this much. I know that I cut the cord again. Newsflash. I was going to save it till later. I'll tell you right now. I canceled cable again, and I tried it as an experiment where I didn't even tell the kids. I didn't even consult with the family. I just quietly called up AT&T and said, "Hey, can we cancel cable?" And can I say, far and away, the most pleasant canceling of any service, any utility ever for anything. Like they just walked me through it. They said, just grab your unit, walk over to UPS store. They will box it. They will package it, give them your account number, and they'll send it back to us. We'll send you verification that everything's handled, and you're good to go. It was the easiest cord cutting experience that I had ever encountered. And my thinking was, I wondered if the kids would ever even notice. And Bonnie says, "Well, Penny watches Disney Channel all the time." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I never see her watch a Disney Channel." She's like, no, on her phone. And I was like, and so I explained to Bonnie the whole thing about Sling TV and then set it up. And I told Penny, "Hey, if you want to watch, it's on this new app instead of the old app." Penny was like, "Cool story, bro," and is back to watching, whatever the diarrhea.
She's like,
television.
"Oh, so the thing I want is now here? Okay, great." That's all she needed, right?
Exactly. Like to her, it was just a change of address. She presses a different app, and everything is the same. So what I'm saying is Penny, I think, certainly qualifies in that generation, but she's at that age where she really appreciates the guided experience of live content on, for example, the Disney Channel.
So the Comcast Stream product is launching in Boston at the end of the summer. It'll be followed by Seattle and Chicago later this year. Then all 22 million subs across Comcast service area in the United States should get it sometime in early 2016. And I pulled up the Recode story for you, Brian. Here's the breakdown using Philadelphia as the market. Now, the prices may be different in different markets, obviously. In Philadelphia's home market right now, you can get TV plus broadband, including HBO, for $45 a month.
I have to believe that is with a contract.
That is with a contract, yes.
And it's probably the most minimal internet you can get.
I think it's 25 megabits per second.
Oh, that's actually not bad.
The equivalent broadband package is $67 a month if you're not getting that package. And then you add Stream on top of that, you're talking $82 a month for the same thing. except without a cable box.
$67 for internet only, and that's with that. That is also with a contract. You're saying
I don't know about contract or not contract.
See, that feels to me like it's a non-contract thing. My guess is they're only running that special. So to me, it is kind of apples and oranges. If what I'm understanding about those numbers is the case.
This is what Peter Kafka found, a basic broadband subscription is $67 a month. And I do remember when I lived in the Comcast service area in San Francisco that if I wanted to get internet and television together, it would have cost me less than if I just got internet, but I already had DirecTV. And I was like, I don't want to have cable television with you. I just want internet.
And we definitely do hear that from a number of other sources where it's like, they're just like, please just take cable so we can not show that we're losing people.
But honestly, it's not even that hangs me up personally. What hangs me up is the fact that I can't take it out of my house and that it's only available on the Comcast internet service. So it locks me in. I've now picked a television service that locks me into my internet. The positive side, for me, the positive side is that you can sign up and cancel online. You don't have to call a person, so that's positive. And like you said earlier, Brian, some of the third-party services will, like maybe ABC, for instance, or HBO Go, would allow you to log into their services. Although we don't know which ones of those will work and which ones won't.
Right, like in my mind, I'm assuming that you get the golden ticket of cable authentication that opens up, this awesome rogues gallery of our favorite content. You can go to AMC.com and watch stuff.
Oh no,
on
you don't get any cable channels. You get broadcast channels only. No AMC, nothing but HBO.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, I just want to make sure you got
no. That correct. That's fine. But I mean, but it was CBS that is one of those that maintains its own ecosystem that you have to authenticate. Is that correct?
CBS, ABC, NBC, all of them.
Right. Okay, fine. So I guess here's my point. My point is I don't care about the live aspect a lot. In fact, if there's any place I'm going to want to watch live, it's going to be at home. When I'm on the road, I'm not going to want to watch live TV. I'm going to watch, on appointment stuff, which if I have the authentication because I have a cable, using air quotes, cable subscription, then...
But I know you, Brian. As soon as you go on the road and there's that one thing you want to watch and then you log in and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, that service isn't available with your service. Then you're going to be like, what? Why is this not universal? Why isn't everything work?
I mean, you're right. I probably will do that because I'm a hypocrite.
Well, no, but just because right now it feels very logical. I feel you, where it's like, oh, but I'll be able to go on the road and get around it that way. But it's never as smooth as that in real life. So I don't know. I do think this is an experiment by Comcast. I do think that I agree with Dan Rayburn, who has said, look, this is not what they're going to roll out in Boston is not what the final product will be. We don't even know if there'll be a final product. They may kill this in the grave if it doesn't catch on. And I would commend Comcast on at least trying something, right? Seeing where it goes.
We do have a little bit of info on the pricing here. After that $45 a month price, it goes up to $68 a month, which is
after
comparable.
Your contract's up,
right? Which is comparable to the broadband only contract that the Recode article mentions.
And that's a contract that the $67.
Ooh, that's a good.
No. If it is month,
it's probably off contract.
At that point, you're out of contract.
Yeah.
So once
so
you're
it's actually pretty similar.
So off contract, the prices are the same, but with one package, you get television and HBO.
Correct.
Right. It's still cheaper than getting broadband and paying another $15 to get HBO through the street.
Yes, it is cheaper. However, I feel like that's an unfair comparison because it doesn't factor in the significant trade-off of locking yourself. There is a dollar value to the fact that you're locking yourself into only one company for the next 2 years.
Well, there's also a significant value to the fact that you're locking yourself into the company that can provide your internet to get your TV service.
Yes. No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it sounds to me like that one offer is you're buying internet and then television is like a vestigial service that just comes with it.
And then if you change your internet service, you don't have that TV service anymore.
Well, yeah, but you can't change your internet service because, never mind. Whatever. Yep. Let's move on.
Let's move on to thanking the patrons who make it possible for us to do this show because you guys are amazing. 2,115 people providing the backing for us to do Cordkillers at patreon.com/Cordkillers. We cannot thank you enough. If you find some value in the show and you're able and willing to give some value back, you're the best.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks so much to all of our fabulous patrons.
I love getting my renewal notice every month.
Oh, thanks, boss.
Oh,
No problem. I own this show.
Let's move on to signals intelligence. So the Wall Street Journal says that ESPN lost 3.2 million subscribers in a little over a year, according to Nielsen data. ESPN currently reaches 92.9 million households, and that's down 7.2% over the past 4 years, 7.2% since 2011. ESPN expected to make up 25% of Disney profits in 2015, though, so it ain't nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, they actually are raising their fees. Like Disney's making them raise their fees to make it comparable. I think about 3 or 4 times. So it's not. Yeah, that I think profit wise they'll be fine. But it made me think about ESPN, and I remember being a little younger. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know about you, Tom, but or Brian, I haven't watched. I don't really watch sports that much anymore. And it's not that I don't like sports. I'm just inundated with so many other things. I don't even. Even having Sling, I just don't click on ESPN. That was not the reason I got the Sling app, and it makes me wonder: are people investing in watching seasons of sports as much as they used to anymore?
I mean, that's the tough thing,
I realize
right?
this is a larger issue of cable, but I'm just curious about ESPN in general.
What you could look at this and say, like, I guess people don't like sports the way they used to. But meanwhile, again, the mere fact that ESPN is having to pay more than ever for licenses means that certainly the NBA, the MLB, the NFL, they all perceive that their content is worth more now than ever before. The question is, ESPN. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say sports are still as popular as they ever were. I am also going to say that the automatic will to get a cable package and join in that old school system of everybody subsidizes people who watches sports is dying. I think that people are either opting out, they're realizing, there's a lot of money for cable. If I only do the stuff I care about through, apps like Sling or this Comcast thing, or just buying your content online, then all of a sudden you get everything you want, especially, now that a lot of these things, for example, we talk about the WWE making their own digital network. I'm going to say all of that sort of totals up to say if ESPN represents business as usual in terms of getting sports in the mainstream, then yeah, business as usual is down 3.2 million subscribers, which again, we're talking about like what, 3 or 4%. But that would surprise me not in the least. But I don't think it means anything bad for sports. And yet I also wouldn't herald it as the end all be all, like realization that finally everything's hunky dory and we all live in a cord cutting paradise.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this as the canary in the coal mine, right? For years, people have said, no one's going to cut the cord because they want sports. And what this shows is there's a limit to that. And I think Brian hit the points about where those limits come from. Well, one is people who don't care about sports who are going to cut the cord, and I think that's having an effect. The other is people who care about particular kinds of sports. They don't care about all the sports. They're like, oh, wait a minute, MLB has my favorite team available at MLB.tv. I don't care about ESPN now. I'll just watch my favorite team over there. No one of these kinds of things is the killer that takes away ESPN subscribers, but they all eat away at it. And so what's happening is ESPN has to pay more and more because the sports leagues are like, hey, we can get that money elsewhere. We're not worried about that. Right. And yet ESPN is looking at the fact that they're going to have to keep charging subscribers more and more because, you know what? We have to pay the leagues and our subscriber base is eroding. Estimates are if ESPN wanted to sell a service directly to people, they'd have to charge $30 a month to be able to make up what they would lose from cable subscribers.
So how do you think they can solve that issue? That was an excellent description of that. If the league can just say, hey, we can offer our own and do it better, how does ESPN counter that? Because now they're being charged up the butt to keep their licenses with these leagues.
Yeah,
I mean, this is the beginning of those behind-the-scenes dances, right? Where it's like, one entity proves that they're able to do it, and it's financially successful or less successful. Like in the WWE, you have this weird hybrid where it's like it's clear they're maintaining a healthy relationship with their TV partners, but also investing so much in their digital, largely well-regarded way of essentially taking themselves out of the pay-per-view market. I mean, I don't know that it's going to be like an obvious A or B situation. I think we're going to see a bunch of outliers of individual cases that people are going to use as leverage in their backroom negotiations.
And I think ESPN has already taken the steps it needs to by saying, yeah, we'll be in on the Sling TV experiment. We need to gather some data about that kind of market and what it means. We need to do it without undermining the subscriber base with cable subscribers. In fact, there is a report that says that if ESPN lost 3 million subs after Sling TV launched, that they could cancel the contract with Sling TV. Now, they lost 3.2 million subs in a little more than a year, so that may not have kicked in that clause. At the same time, ESPN may be able to go to cable subscribers and say, we didn't lose 3.2 million subscribers because of Sling TV. We lost 3.2 million subscribers because you guys aren't keeping cable subscribers at all. Because there's only, 250,000 subscribers to Sling TV at this point? So It's a very complex situation that ESPN, I think, is actually doing a pretty good job of navigating. But it does show that all the folks have been saying, oh, no one will get rid of cable because of sports, are not right either. This is the showing that people have more complex motivations. And I don't know, I look at this and I feel like it's similar to what major broadcast networks and daily newspapers and everybody else has learned, which is you can't be the monolithic be everything anymore, because people's tastes can be more divergent because there's an infinite number of things to entertain you on the internet.
Yeah, and more important, it's disadvantageous to try to be that all things to all people entity which blows my mind. I don't understand still to this day why Microsoft insists on putting its name on everything when they would probably be better off not even pretending like they're all things to all people.
So does ESPN need to be a service that instead of relying on these networks, create their own type of original content? I mean, I know they have their own shows. What is it, 30 by 30? I know they have some original.
They definitely do original content. For example, I would say the most ESPN I've watched in the last 2 years has been plowing through a bunch of the 30 for 30 documentaries that are on Netflix, that are ESPN original content. However, they make their bones with their symbiotic relationship that they've had with all of the cable establishments. Which is why we have this weird fact that most people pay for ESPN if they have a cable subscription and don't even bother to use it.
Yeah, they're going to have to navigate this new market where they need to partner up with the leagues more. They need to realize that people get their sports news reading the web more, and they're doing all of these things. They are partnering with leagues more. They have ESPN.com and they have apps, but they have to navigate all those waters, and it's much more difficult because somebody else can come in and go, hey, you know what? I'm the disruptor. I'm going to start from scratch and do something amazing. So I have to say that all this shows is that the change of how we consume our media is sparing no one, not even a monolith like ESPN.
Yeah, well, and I think you just nailed the reason that this is a good cord killer study is because this sports has been the final argument-ending piece. If you're in a bar arguing about whether or not you should quit cable, they get to like, oh yeah, what about sports? And then it's like it's kind of over. And we don't know which of these sports alternatives are causing this loss, but clearly enough people are figuring out how to get enough of their sports excitement and entertainment without shelling out, ridiculous $80, $100 a month for traditional cable.
Yeah. Network apps, esports, just being interested in other things, watching streams from other sports, getting interested in weird, unusual sports that are available. I think all of those things combined. Let's gear up.
Shall, sir.
Thank you. So Google put out a cool little dongle for Chromecast. It was a power plug, so you'd plug it into the wall, and then you'd plug it into the USB on your Chromecast, which you say, well, I could already do that. Except this power dongle had an Ethernet port that would allow you to plug in an Ethernet cable and get 100 megabit per second Ethernet into your Chromecast. Put it up on sale for $15, and they sold out in less than a day.
Is the mere fact that they created and released this item a tacit acknowledgement that streaming video over Wi-Fi in general pretty much sucks? Like it just I got a full disclosure. I got a Chromecast. I also got an Amazon Fire TV stick. Both of them rely on Wi-Fi, and both of them also never get used anymore because there's just enough times that it can't seem to negotiate with my router, even though they're very close. They're only one room over, and the restriction definitely can't be the internet because we've got gigabit fiber. It's frustrating just enough where, to be honest, I would not sell this thing any other way. I would say, use this extra thing or not, but you definitely want one of these.
I thought about this, and I was like, why would somebody buy this bulky thing? But I thought about that. I bet most households don't keep up with router technology like you and I would do. Like, I'm going to get the latest in router or the AC router, and I know there are still people that I know that are still using a B router. The wireless 802.11b, and sure. Maybe Google saw this and realized, hey, people, they just don't have the technology in the house to make this work. I even in my house where I have AC wireless, I still took my router out of this room, put it in where the TV is, because that's where I am the most, and I wired in my Xbox, PS4, Wii U. I use an adapter for the Wii U, and my TV, which has internet on it as well. So the only thing that is wireless is the Chromecast, and the reason is I don't trust wireless as much, and I have the latest wireless technology. So that's an interesting point.
Man, I have been a preacher for decades. Well, if maybe 1 decade, that you should hardline before wireless. That you will always have fewer lag issues. That you will always have a better signal if you plug it. That's why my rig here that I do Cordkillers on is hardline into the FiOS router to make sure that there's no issues. All that said, I'm too lazy to run an Ethernet line upstairs to the living room when we first moved into this house. I've got a Roku, an Apple TV, an Xbox One, a Fire TV. Sometimes Eileen and I are in different rooms using different ones of those boxes at the same time. Don't have any issues. And it's not even a brand new router, right? It's not super old.
Dude, I mean, again, lucky for you, congratulations.
Yeah. Roll of the dice, right? Because, and so I know I say that not to actually not in any way to disagree with Lamar and Brian, but to say to all of the people who are listening or in the chat room saying like, I've got Wi-Fi and it works fine. It can. I'm living proof, but it doesn't always. And so, yeah, if you want to have a much more reliable signal, you plug it in. That's why this thing sold out in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
You have that magical FiOS in your house, though, so,
That's slower than Brian's connection, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, definitely bandwidth helps. No doubt about it. But it's the lag. It's the wireless lag. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that my house is made entirely of conductive metal.
Maybe so.
That rebroadcasts.
Just very cheap plaster that the signal can't go through.
Right, my house is just one big Wi-Fi antenna.
Real quick before we jump into the front lines, as many people know, we make bucks here on the show not only from your fantastic contributions over at patreon.com/Cordkillers, but also both Tom and I run some independent stores where we try to make you guys happy with whether it be books, original materials, or so on. And speaking of which, a magic trick that I developed and did at my stage show for 7-8 years, I recently have made available, and Dan White, the very talented magician, did it on the Today Show. It's a very surreal moment to watch your routine in your trick get performed by another person on national television, but it was amazing, and especially seeing their fantastic responses. If you're watching on the video, they definitely completely freaked out. It's very cool, very cool. We got it's a high-end, fully professional routine, one that I've toured with for almost 10 years now, and that's available over at scamstuff.com. It's on discount right now.
So that
That's
makes you a
awesome, man.
producer of magic.
Yeah, no, great. Add that to the business card.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's get into the front lines.
Front lines.
So Showtime launched its standalone service last week. You get a 30-day free trial if you sign up through the Apple devices, PlayStation Vue, or the Roku, after which it costs $11 a month. You also get a 30-day free trial if you sign up through Hulu, but then it only costs you $9 a month through Hulu. I signed up for the 30-day free trial, looked around at Showtime. If you like Showtime shows, you ought to check it out.
I was about to say the same thing. I can't think of one show that I want to see on show. I can't.
Homeland?
You know, what's funny is I was about to propose The Nick, but that was a Cinemax show, wasn't it? Weeds was a Showtime show.
Yeah, Penny Dreadful. People love Penny Dreadful on Showtime.
Yeah, so there's examples.
Nurse
Hey man,
Jackie.
Plex's Xbox One app is getting some new features. You can play music with the playlist format, the playlist support for audio and video. Plex can also handle Xbox's native MKV file format and can show movie trailers related to the films you have. Yeah, no, that's cool, dude. Everybody loves Plex, right? Is there anyone who hates Plex, who feels like Plex doesn't do what they want it to do?
Yeah, we always hear from the people, whether we mention Plex or not, who are like, you guys should check out Plex. If if we mention it, they tell us how great it is. If we don't mention it, they tell us we forgot to mention Plex. Let's hear from the Plex deniers.
The Plex deniers. That's a good way to, make them feel encouraged, is to label them deniers from the outset.
Gates Air, LG, and Zenith, in conjunction with WJW-TV Cleveland, have started field testing something called FutureCast, which uses the HEVC video compression to broadcast 4K over the air, along with two what they're calling mobile TV broadcasts, all in one 6 megahertz channel. The hope is that FutureCast could be rolled into the ATSC 3.0 broadcast standard, which is currently under consideration. So 4K TV over-the-air broadcast being tested now.
Okay, so
go ahead.
knowing that we live in a world where we are seeing increasing amounts of bandwidth of all variety become available, sell me on why I should be excited about this format of distribution in your mind. Either of you, if you happen to have an idea or no.
Bar, you want to take a crack?
Nope.
I mean, all I'll say is that the best HD I can get in my house is not from DirecTV. It's over the air, uncompressed digital. Now, granted, not every channel uncompresses, so sometimes it's not better. But when they are uncompressed, it's beautiful and it's free, and I can get it by sticking a piece of metal in the air and put it on my TiVo Romeo. So if I could do that with 4K, I'd be pretty excited.
Right.
Yeah, I guess my huge concern with this is who the heck still uses Zenith?
Well, you don't have to use a
just-
Zenith
I
television
just-
to get this. They're just one of the companies helping develop it. That's a very good point, Lamar.
Yeah.
My dad had a big old Zenith cabinet television. It was great. Had a
All
record
right,
player.
I got a story for Lamar here as a prominent YouTuber. Hey, Lamar, did you hear a Swedish newspaper reported that YouTube star PewDiePie earned $7 million in 2014 from his gaming commentary videos? He has more than 37 million subscribers. Last year, the Wall Street Journal revealed that he made $4 million in 2013. I'm a guy who's seen the rates that YouTube pays out, and it seems like it's a very reasonable payout given the number of videos that are views that he's got. For example, let me see here. It says here that we're looking at him doing anywhere between 10 and 20 million views per day, which means he's making, anywhere from $2,000 to $30,000 per video per day, or that much per day. I mean, this all seems reasonable, right? I mean, I don't understand
if you
why
don't
people are upset
if you
about
don't,
it.
if you
can
if y'all
get
don't
it.
mind, I'm just like trying to change my channel to gaming real quick so that I can start making this much money. Just give me 1 second here.
start
You should do the
cashing-
All right.
Minecraft. I hear the kids love the Minecraft.
The Minecraft. You know what's funny? Yeah, I've known about this, and I've calculated other YouTube stars. You know, some family channels. You know, where they just the kids with the vlogging camera, and they're clearing 30,000-50,000 a month. And it makes me cry, and it's ridiculous. But no, I'm happy for PewDiePie. What's funny is there is actually a few toy channels where you may have heard of these mystery people who never show their face. They don't allow comments. They don't allow ratings, and it is this mystery Asian woman. When you just see her hands, and all she does is show off girly toys. And I checked her numbers, and it is actually getting more views per month than PewDiePie is.
What?
On toy, just showing off Barbie dolls or toy reviews. It blows my mind how much money these people are making, while I'm just on this show because I can't clear the rent. I'm just playing.
Here's
but
the
no,
thing.
it's a lot of money out there to be made, man.
So put it in perspective, right? Let's say that instead of 10 billion views total he's done, let's say it's one. Let's change all of his billions into millions, which would mean that the payout would drop down to, instead of $7 million, which sounds outrageous, if he was a YouTube millionaire instead of a billionaire, he would be getting $7,000 in a year. And it's like, that makes sense. It's the exact same ratio. And just because he's literally orders of magnitude more popular, he's able to bring in orders of magnitude more money, which makes total sense to me.
Yeah, if any of you all in the audience ever want to do the math, and includes you all too, the baseline one I use, and I'm not telling anybody's rates because they fluctuate, but just a baseline for every million views, multiply $1,500 because that's like the low end rate, and so that gives you about that. You know, PewDiePie is definitely getting about $500,000 a month, and that's not counting any brand deals, because a lot of those videos he's doing on games, he's getting paid by the publisher, which is nothing wrong with that, to get that. Right. So you can almost double his rate. And
I guess that's the weird double standard is you almost have to wrap around your mind. You have to wrap your mind around the fact that even getting paid $7 million a year by YouTube, he's getting screwed because YouTube's payout ratios are phenomenally bad. Their CPMs are awful as a percentage, given how much content that is being shown.
I'm just tired of the youth of the world idolizing YouTube stars and giving them millions of dollars while our teachers aren't paid. We don't honor the folks in our community, and yet these superstars are getting these $1 million contracts.
Somebody took it political. Where are we headed?
those teachers are not making me laugh by screaming at the screen all day. So
I think the moral of the story is that teachers should become YouTube stars, and you should subscribe to youtube.com/LamarWilson to see what happens when they do.
There you go. And then you get to have all these beautiful toys behind you. All these. This is what happens when you leave becoming a teacher. You start collecting pop figures and amiibo. That's my life now.
You're a role model for the youth of today. All right, Amazon has launched the Fling software toolkit, allowing developers for Android, iOS, and Fire OS to add a Fling button to their apps. When users press the Fling button, they can send content to their Fire TV device. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's what Chromecast does, and AirPlay, and DLNA, and so it's not a bad thing. Now you can do it through Amazon. You got another button.
So these are all going to continue to be app specific, right? Or they universal?
It's the toolkit for the developers to add it to their app.
Right. Okay. So hopefully we'll live in a world where you can open up a YouTube video and intend to show it to people, not even know or care whether they have a Chromecast or a DLNA.
That's not the world we're in right now. Right now you have to know which button to press. And that DLNA was supposed to be that thing that made it a standard. In fact, Chromecast is on top of the standard, so that's why sometimes you'll hit that Chromecast button and you'll see things like a TiVo show up. So I don't know why we need a Fling, like a separate Fling button. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's get under surveillance.
Not like real estate. It's all about location. Under surveillance.
Amazon released a new trailer for The Man in the High Castle in advance of the series premiere on Amazon Prime. It's a mix of scenes from the pilot and future episodes. Brian Brushwood, were you excited?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And granted, like half of it was already content I already seen before, but it's just this doubling down. It's this promise that we're going to get a lot more of the story. I really, really, really like the pilot, and I really look forward to seeing where they go with it. And hopefully this will be, a big noisemaker for them.
Are you into The Man in the High Castle, Lamar?
Shame on me for not looking at this at this at all. I didn't get a chance to see the trailer. I've never even heard of it.
Oh man, you got to watch the pilot
yeah.
at the very least. It's based on my.
Is that an
favorite-
Amazon original?
Yeah, it's an Amazon Prime original.
Okay,
That's great.
Okay.
It takes place in a United States that's been split up by the victorious Japanese and Nazis after World War II, and the people who live in that environment. It's pretty great.
And they streamed episode 2 on, I think it was EW.com on Friday as a Comic-Con event, and I couldn't be around. And it's not available on demand afterwards. Now I got to wait till the fall, but oh well. Worse things have happened. A trailer for Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion's Vimeo series Con Man was released at Comic-Con as well. You can pre-order the season for $14.99 on Vimeo.com, and it will release starting September 30th.
Dude, I'm excited. I did not see the trailer. I want to see it, but I'm going to reserve judgment until I've seen more. And
The trailer is full of cameo appearances of Firefly stars and others. If you're a Firefly fan, you're going to be totally sucked in and love it. You're going to see all kinds of people you want to see. And there's also folks like Felicia Day in it. So it looks amazing. I think it's going to be awesome.
Is this a pure sci-fi show or
It's a
not what I
parody
think
show.
it
It's
is?
about a guy who goes to conventions because he used to be in a popular science fiction series, which is loosely obvious.
in other words,
Okay, so it's not what I
an
thought when I saw the
autobiographical. Yeah, it's an autobiographical comedy that basically describes their experience about going to cons.
Okay.
Comedy Central has renewed South Park for 4 more seasons, and Hulu paid $192 million to retain the exclusive streaming rights. Season 19 begins September 16th.
Can't wait.
I mean, at some point, a brand becomes so powerful that it's just worth it. It's worth it for them to spend whatever money it takes to keep that train rolling, man.
And Trey and Matt have said they will continue to do it until it gets canceled. Frankly, if they've got 4 more seasons on Comedy Central, Hulu or somebody else will be so powerful in 4 years that they'll just keep renewing it online, even if that has to leave Comedy Central.
Yep, I agree. Agreed.
And Netflix announced their movie release dates. So October 16th, we get Beasts of No Nation, which is from True Detective director Cary Fukunaga. December 11th, The Ridiculous Six, the first of the Adam Sandler movies. This one starring Adam Sandler, Terry Crews, Rob Schneider, and Nick Nolte. Q1 2016 is when the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie, The Green Legend, comes. And in March 2016, we get Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Right on. Weirdly, out of all of those, not ironically at all, I'm most excited about Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
I am totally, ironically, most excited about The Ridiculous Six starring Adam Sandler.
I want to see what they're going to do with that. Yeah. Because Adam Sandler hasn't had the home runs lately, I'll just say.
Pixels. It's coming. It's not going to be a big hit. So, Lamar, what have you been watching on your either laptop or television screen?
Yeah, when I can watch Sling. So I have been watching Hulu later. I actually caught up on the show Blackish, which I never watched. I met the teenage stars of that show at an event, and when I got home, I said, "All right, let me check out this show." I couldn't believe what I was missing. You know, Anthony Anderson is like the funniest guy in the world. This show is genius, and I went through it in like a day. Just went through all the episodes. It was that good.
Are they half hour comedies?
No, it's an hour.
Oh, it's an hour. Wow.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I didn't have a life those couple of days. There's also a show on Hulu, but it's on Nickelodeon called Instant Mom. It's more for a younger audience, but it's the kid he's the younger brother of Everybody Hates Chris. You know, the kid who played that, and then Tia from Tia and Tamara is the mother. It's like a step parent type comedy, and it's just unbelievably good. Like chemistry is excellent in that show, so I watched that. A couple fun ones on Sling. When Sling is working, I want to keep saying that. I sit there and watch hours of Ancient Aliens. I'm a huge fan of that show, and I like the crazy guy with the big hair.
I watch Sling
I'm a big
on
fan
my
of
Roku.
his.
My
Yeah, I
Sling
can't
on my
pronounce
Roku
his
works
name.
really well, and we were watching Ancient Aliens this weekend and just having a laugh.
Yeah, it's a great show. And finally on history, there's this new show. What's been out for a few weeks called Alone, and it's 10 guys who are out in some wilderness in Canada, and they have limited supplies and they're living separate from each other. They can't communicate at all with each other. They're separated by distance, and it's one of those shows to see who's the last man standing. And they have cameras set up, and I mean it's good reality TV. You get to see situations where they're in a tent and a bear comes up, and they have to deal with the wild or wolves coming near, and it's one of those that keep you on the edge of your seat, and to see them have to encounter a bear and then they call in for somebody to pick them up. They just give up the money they could have won. It's purely reality TV, but I love it for some reason because I hate nature, but I like watching other people suffer in nature.
Right on.
And yeah, that's it. Those much. Oh, it's not watching, but I've been playing Batman Arkham Knight as if I'm watching a movie because it is like a movie or serialized TV. It's amazing. If you ever played the game, check it out. Or if you want to play the game. Yeah.
Yeah, the Alone, it reinforces that advice that you always get when you visit a national park, which is if you see a bear, pick up the phone and call your production company and get you out of it.
What about you, Tom? What have you been watching?
I have been watching less lately, but I did catch the documentary An Honest Liar on Netflix, which you mentioned last week, Brian. We're going to talk about that on Spoiler in Time. Did watch The Shield episode 7, season 6, True Detective episode 4, season 2. Watched a bunch of Comic-Con panels off of YouTube, and watched Wayward Pines episode 1 earlier this week, and just plowed on through all the way to episode 8. It's one of those things where I don't think everyone's going to enjoy it. I see definite flaws. You need to kind of forget things that happen in earlier episodes if you want to enjoy later episodes. It's kind of like a free association plot. You're like, just don't pay attention to that earlier established fact, and you'll be fine. But it's got a great atmosphere. It's total M. Night Shyamalan in that way. And I watched Killjoys episode 1, the Sci-Fi Channel thing, which people are like, oh, it's like Firefly. You got to watch it. And I have to admit, it was almost trying too hard to be like Firefly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm going to watch episode 2 or not.
So we'll talk about True Detective, and I look forward to hearing your take on An Honest Liar, and of course want to find out about the latest Shield episodes. But the only other movie I was able to catch, I'm out in Oakland right now, hanging out with Justin, and I did manage to see Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, a documentary about an Australian who just tries going on a juice fast or a vegetable and fruit juice fast for 60 days. And you watch, transformation that happened to him. And he meets a guy who, at a truck stop who has the exact same conditions he had. And you watch it's great. For those who don't know, I've talked about it briefly on Twitter. I'm on day 8 now of no animal products, doing just crazy, fruits and vegetables. And seeing other people where it ended up for them has me really stoked. And I don't know, it was a good movie, good flick.
Excellent. Dude, Bryce has been on the lookout for interesting things. What have you found, Bryce?
Hey, guys. So I've got a documentary for you guys this week, Ignore the Sunburn. This is a recent documentary on Netflix called Hot Girls Wanted. You may have heard about it because it's being produced by Rashida Jones.
Documentary. Okay, all right.
Did I say?
Well, it's called Hot Girls Wanted. I just want to make it clear. It's a documentary. It's produced by Rashida Jones.
Yes.
So
they get very close to the line of showing anything actually explicit or worthy of being censored.
This is about luring people into the world of online pornography, or
yeah, it's about attracting young girls into the amateur adult film industry. And you follow a couple of different storylines from, a girl who just gets into it to a girl who's only like 4 or 5 months in, and she's kind of at the end of her line. The point that it tries to make is pretty good, in that there are some real injustices in the way that industry is set up. But if you just took like the first 10 or 15 minutes, you would think it's very like sex negative and puritanical. But by the end, it does make some really interesting points about the whole industry. So that's an interesting look, and that's on Netflix now.
Hot
All
Girls
right, dude,
Wonder
I'm
on
putting
Netflix.
that one to my list for sure. That sounds fascinating.
Thanks, man. Bryce, always on the lookout for good stuff for us every week, so be sure to listen in for that. Let's get some dispatches, because they're from the front. Hey, Brian, what did Ken have to say to us?
Ken says that he wanted to write in about his experience with the Amazon Fire TV stick and using it in hotel rooms away from home. He heard us talking about the update that allows you to sign in through a hotel's Wi-Fi access portal. He said he went to some hotels where it was freaking fantastic. It always got through the portal without any trouble, but hotels where just bandwidth was poor, it was a crap experience. He now perceives it to be as a must-have item if you want to be able to watch all of your content on your television at the hotel. But he says your mileage may vary. It all boils down to the bandwidth.
That makes sense. Not every hotel is going to be able to hold a stream, so you may still
not
need...
every hotel, you mean no hotels. Nobody's got the bandwidth I want.
I've been running into more hotels with decent bandwidth than I used to. It's gone from no hotels to few hotels for me.
Well, good.
Yeah. Joe wrote in and wanted to remind me after I talked about Pluto TV. Last week, we talked about Pluto TV putting Hulu shows on, and Joe thinks that's pretty cool. But I mentioned that one of the things I like about Pluto TV is the news channel. And he's like, hey, I think I heard this from you. And yes, Joe, you did. Haystack TV does the same thing, except it's just for news. It's an app for your phone, your tablet, and they have a website as well that's in beta. They're working on favoriting and a recommendation engine for news. So it not only just shows you news from various sources, but it also pays attention to which ones you like. So it keeps giving you those types of stories. Pretty cool. Thanks for the reminder, Joe.
Awesome. Let's do... man, we're running long here. I just want to skip to...
I think we're right at an hour. We can fit in these last two.
Oh, good. Nikki says, hey, guys, got just one comment about the Hulu Pluto channels. This is the syndicated version he or she, Nikki, has been waiting for. I keep hoping for something I could tailor myself. Hulu used to have playlists and queuing, but now it's only queuing. Just recently, I wanted to watch a playlist option when I realized I could only stand 3 shows of someone else's binge watching. Well, I'm close with Pluto, but not close enough. Really hoping maybe Pluto will help him get his own channel selection someday. So
that kind of is the holy grail, right? Where it's like it's doing the linear channel, so I don't have to make any choices, but it's based on me and what I've watched. I kind of love that. And then Bad Billy said season 2 of The Strain premieres this Sunday evening on FX. And you can watch it on Hulu. Hulu's been suggesting it to me based on my past watching ability. So Bad Billy and Hulu both think that I would like The Strain, so I might check it out. And that's it for Cordkillers. Lamar Wilson, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed being on. And again, one of my favorite shows.
Twitter.com/Lamar Wilson, YouTube.com/Lamar Wilson. There are 2 R's in Lamar. Anything in particular to let folks know about?
No, I'm working on some new content this week. This is the second quarter, so I'm just trying to up the comedy and up the fun. So there'll be some cool how-to videos coming out, and I'm gonna try to be like PewDiePie and make $7 million this year.
Go make Lamar Wilson the next PewDiePie. YouTube.com/Lamar Wilson. Brian, that's it, man. We're out of here.
Dude, good job. I can't wait to spoil the world in spoiler in time coming up momentarily.
Or on Wednesday, if you're not a patron. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we're live on diamondclub.tv Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you later.
Hey, guys. Tom and Brian here. We just wanted to say thank you to all of our $5 patrons who keep us loud, live, and independent. You guys make Cordkillers the production that it is.
Your name appears in the video credits and appears in our hearts. And if you'd like to become one of them or see who they are, you can go to patreon.com/Cordkillers.
You'll need to do more than just go there, though. You'll have to sign up and, pledge an amount. But
unless you just want to see who they are.
Well, I mean, you could gawk. That's a little creepy, isn't it?
If you want to be a gawker,
let's go.
It's up to you.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.